Hello, YouTube. My name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka What Kind of Snatch You Want, because I got plenty to go around. This is my AEW Grand Slam Mexico review and a highlight. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys please full watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I'm doing on the channel. Why I give you guys a full breakdown of my review, not the half of my review. Follow my social media down below in the description, and go check out my WWE NXT review on how I post on the channel. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, AEW Grand Slam Mexico was okay show for what it was, and I give that show a 6.5 out of 10. All right, it says AEW is live from Arena Mexico in Mexico City. It says we're kicking things off with a hot crowd in Mexico as Hangman Adam Page makes his way down the ramp. Mic in hand, he introduced himself in Spanish, though admits he has a shaky handle on the languages. Tony Escobar is offering the translation as Page talks about his family grew up on a farm working with migrants, addressing the bond he shares with those who work hard for their own families. He thanks the crowd for having them in their house tonight, which gets a great pop from the fans. He thanks C-Mill for the chance to work together, showing off the best professional wrestling in the world before turning his attention to the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley. Hangman Page will not be wrestling tonight, and he been barred from the arena during the main event, but nobody said anything about after the match. He ends by saying he will have his eyes on Jon Moxley at the same. His music his music hitting as he heads up the ramp. Commentary runs down the lineup for the night, including a now 14 man tag team match. Um, 14-man tag team match to kick things off. The opening promo from Hangman Page was awesome to see. Some honest top star stuff as he cuts a promo in Spanish for the crowd in Mexico City. Hashtag AEW Grand Slam Mexico. It was a solid segment by Hangman Adam Page. That segment was just solid. All right, let's move on. FTF FTR music hits as Stokely Hathaway reveals that due to Crimson Crimson's behind his control, Cash Wheeler will not be competing tonight, but they have a replacement in Volador Jr. He makes his entrance followed by the Don Callis family. Bandino starts the entrance for the opposing team, followed by Female Atlantis. Taparlo, Tapario and Atlantis Jr. to be mixed reaction, as commentary explains the fans are not in favor of the younger Atlantis, well, Atlantis, something like that. Rounding out the entrance is Daniel Garcia and Adam Cole, the latter getting a massive pop from the crowd before this match gets underway. And I know I'm not the only person that said this, but I am so sick and tired of the Don Callis family. I am so sick and tired of the Don Callis family. And I know my boy Showstopper TV is sick and tired of the Don Callis family too. So shout out to my boy Showstopper TV for saying that in this live stream, man. I'm so sick and tired of the Don Callis family. And I know I'm not the only person that said it. All right, let's move on. So we get the first match. So we get a 14-man tag team match. Bandito, Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, Brody King, Temporio, Atlantis and Atlantis Jr. versus Kanushka, Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Lance Archer, Josh Alexander, Hikaru, Dax Harwood, and Valador Jr. And this 14-man tag team match, this was, this was, it was just a decent. I might as well say this was a decent 14-man tag team match. This was all over the this 14-man tag team match was all over the place. That's all, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. This was all over the place. Wish me luck as I get this match recapped. We start off with the Kashka and Bandino. The Ring of Honor World Champion gets the upper hand at first, but the Kashka takes control until Bandino sends him out of the ring. And it seems we're working under Lucha Libre rules as Hikaru enters the ring next. The two go at it until Hikaru takes Bandito down to the mat, mocking the crowd after. Daniel Garcia gets in now, dancing to mark Hikaru until the luchador catches him by the legs. Daniel Garcia takes him down with the head scissors, forces him out of the ring as Dax Harwood comes in. Daniel Garcia takes him to the corner for some punches, but Dax Harwood fights back until Daniel Garcia rolls out of the ring. Atlantis Jr. enters the ring to boos as he takes Dax Harwood to task for a near fall. The Bulls turn to cheer as soon as Templar, Templaro Temporio Temporio tags in and they double team Dax Harwood until Volador comes in. This leads to a set of head scissors from Templaro and Atlantis Jr. with Dax Harwood being sent out of the ring as Templaro focuses his attack on Volador. He sends Volador out before having the ring as well, allowing Dax Harwood and Brody King to enter the ring. Lance Archer enters and things quickly break down as Adam Cole also gets involved. With the ring being cleared out, since the TNT champion Kyle Fletcher steps in, taking Adam Cole down before sending him out of the ring, which leads to Atlantis Jr. entering the ring. The dynamic, dynamic of Atlantis Jr. presence is well known as the crowd specifically boo every move he makes while the rest of his team gets cheered. They eventually cleared the ring off of their opponents to a big pop as we go to a full commercial break. We're back from a full commercial break. Josh Alexander and Bandito have tagged in to go at it, with Josh Alexander intercepting the Ring of Honor World Champion for an avalanche belly to belly suplex, but belly suplex in a 2 count. Takeshita looks to get involved as he climbs up top, but he gets stopped by Bandito, sending him into the Alpha. Temporio tags in and goes after Josh Alexander with the luchador sending their opponents down hard for a Temporio near fall on Josh Alexander. Kyle Fletcher gets into the action Kyle Fletcher gets into the action as does Atlantis, who gets booed before the fans cheer before Josh, sending him off the turnbuckle. Things race down until the Don Callis family takes body punches in each corner. The action then spills to the outside with Bandito hitting a moonsault before Brody King and Lance Archer enter the ring for our, our much needed house fight. They made strikes until Brody King hits the ropes for a shoulder tackle. Lance Archer leaves the ring, allowing Hikaru to get in, and he takes Brody King to the mat to keep the big man grounded. However, this is soon met with Brody King taken to the air while he hits a head scissors on Hikaru to send him out of the ring. He leaves the ring and gets Atlantis and Dash Harwood in the ring. The pair go at it in the corner before Atlantis fights back, catching Dax Harwood with a small package for the win. The winner by pinfall: Bandino, Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, Brody King, Temporio, and Atlantis Jr. This 14 tag team match was all over the place, and that's all I gotta say. It says they celebrate is cut short by Dax Harwood and friends going on the attack before things clears out. All right, pretty fun tag match to kick off in the in ring action. But with so many moving parts, a 14-man tag, this leads to a lot of small spots that added up. Most interesting thing to me was that dynamic of Atlantis Jr. not being favored by the crowd as much as his dad or the rest of his show. All right, let's move on. So we get a video package. The history of Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega ahead of their massive winner takes all match in All In Texas. Up next, Okada faces Mark Briscoe in a non-title match, non-title action. Commercial break. Back back at ringside, Mark Briscoe makes his way down the ramp as we get a look at his challenge, the Kazuchika Okada for tonight. Mark Briscoe gets a nice pop, but Okada gets a bigger one as he makes his entrance before this match gets on the way. So we get a non-title match: AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada versus Mark Briscoe. And this match right here, this was a decent match. All right, the two-man lock up with the champion sending Mark Briscoe to the ropes before forcing him out of the ring. Mark Briscoe makes it back in after running around, but Okada managed to intercept him for some more damage. He brings Mark Briscoe to the corner, but Mark Briscoe escapes his gaps, landing some hard strikes on Okada and taking him down with a kick. Okada starts to fight back, but Mark Briscoe sends him to the outside for a dive through the ropes before sending him back in the ring. Okada fights back once more, this time sending Mark Briscoe to the outside with a dropkick as we go to commercial break. All right, back from commercial break, both men are in the ring again, with the champ take control as he sends Mark Briscoe to the mat. He sets the former Ring of Honor World Champion up for a tombstone, but Mark Briscoe counters for a near fall. Instead, Mark Briscoe evades a rainmaker before a kick, forcing him to forcing him forcing him to the canvas. The fans are rallying behind Mark Briscoe as he trades strikes with Okada. He sends the champ to the ropes, but it's knocked down by Okada instead. But Mark Briscoe remains relent, resilient as he takes Okada down hard for a near fall. Despite his efforts, however, Mark Briscoe gets taken down by several strikes into a neckbreaker, allowing Okada to regain control with an elbow drop. He mocks the crowd by flipping them and Mark Briscoe the bird, and Mark Briscoe is not afraid to bite the bird. He takes the champ down before going on top for a froggy bowl, but only gets a 2 count. He goes for a J driller, but Okada catches him with a back body drop. Mark Briscoe evades a lariat, but he takes a drop kick by Okada, only for Mark Briscoe to dodge another Rainmaker. Jay Driller gets blocked, and we trade between this this and a Rainmaker attempt until Okada catches him with a tombstone piledriver. He's not done, however, as Okada lands the Rainmaker lariat on Mark Briscoe for the win. The winner by pinfall, Kazuchika Okada. This was a decent match between Kazuchika Okada and Mark Briscoe. This was a decent match for what it was. The Don Callis enters the ring with Okada title presented to him as Okada raised it to a chant of Kenny Omega by the crowd. Don Callis attacks Mark Briscoe, setting him up for a further beatdown by Okada before the pair retreats up the ramp. Decent match here, mainly just nice to see Mark Briscoe taking the fight to Okada. We're coming up on the end of one hour one, and this is only the second match. We will reach site WWE levels of pacing. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Those though at least it comes because of a longer show. All right. So we up next. MJF takes on Malistico. I'm sorry. So we go to commercial break. Back at ringside, MJF is accompanied by the Hurt Syndicate to the cheers of booze as he heads down the ramp and hits American hero Artaris as we look back at how this match came about. Out next is Malistico referring MJF Sin Cara. We marched from last week by wearing the mask on the stage before taking it off to reveal one in the style of Mexican flag. The crowd singing along with his theme as he heads to the ring to get this match on the way. All right, so we get now. Don't get me wrong. I love the storyline with the Hurt Syndicate. I can get right behind it. They got something going on with the Hurt Syndicate with the MJF, and it's gonna be something special too. All right, let's move on. So we get the next match. MJF versus Malistico. And this match right here. I ain't gonna lie. This match was fine for what it was. This was a fine match for what it was. MJF shoves the luchador down to the mat, immediately mocking the crowd in Mexico City as they let him know what they think of the American hero. Melisco takes him down before backing off, and this gives MJF an opening to land a kick. Melisco fights out of a side headlock to wear MJF down before walking the ropes for a head scissors into a near fall. MJF rolls out of the ring, taking a breather and a word of advice from MVP. The luchador gives chase before he is cut off by the Hurt Syndicate, and this allows MJF to blindside him, sending him to the floor, mocking the crowd. They respond in kind as he brings Melisco back in the ring for a knee drop, but Melisco sends him to the corner. He looks to follow up on this, but is sent into the turnbuckles by MJF, who taunts the crowd by relenting the Pledge of Allegiance as MVP yells at him to stay on top of his opponent. Sure enough, Melisco takes him down in response, but MJF managed to get one over on him for a near fall. Before we go to commercial break on Max, the streaming service, not MJF. So we go to full commercial break. Back from commercial break, we see that her syndicate gang up on Melisco before MJF brought him back into the ring. As in real time, we see him mocking the luchador even more. Melisco fights back, sending MJF to the ropes before landing an elbow strike on the American hero. He lures MJF into the corner before hitting a kick, getting the crowd even more pumped up as he sets up for a DDT that forced MJF to roll to the outside for a break. MJF makes it back to his feet only only for the luchador to get the drop on him. Um, and Esta Lucha chant, "This is wrestling," shows the crowd continuing to support the legend as he brings MJF back into the ring, counting, uh, continuing the offense before going up top for a moonsault, only for MJF to roll out of the way. MJF gets caught with a power slam instead, but it only for a gets a 2 count for the luchador. He brings MJF to his feet for some strikes before hitting the ropes where MJF catches him in the eyes. Mexico responds with a kick, but a destroyer works out in MJF's favor for a 2 count. MJF MJF takes his leave from the ring, heading up the ramp to boos from the crowd. Mystico gave chase, looking for a like Mystic, Mystica, but MJF counters with a tombstone pile driver. Both men are down as the referee leaves the ring to check on them. MJF makes it to his feet, pulling the referee towards the ring to start the count. At the count of four, at the count of four, we see Melisco sitting up, making his way down the ramp just as the count reaches 8 before he gets back into the ring. MJF looks for a Long Island surprise off the turnbuckle, but Melisco intercepts him for a Spanish fly to the mat. Melisco managed to get a cover, but is only good for a 2 count. Melisco gets back to his feet, but the referee is distracted by MVP as the luchador connects with that love Melistica. We get a visual tap out, but it's no good as the referee is still distracted by MJF to land a low blow for a roll up, but Melistica kicks out to a big pop. MJF has had enough of the legend, however, landed another low blow in clear view of the referee who calls for the belt and the disqualification. The winner by disqualification, Melistico. And this match right here, this match was okay for what it was. Well, I'm sorry, this was a fun match, fine match what it was, fine match what it was. MJF and the Hurt Syndicate are far from finished. However, as they beat Melistico down before MJF does the seemingly unthinkable by pulling the mask off the Lucha Libre legend. The crowd is in an uproar as MJF puts the mask on, flipping them off. But out comes Bandito Temporero and trying to put an end to the disrespect. This all lead this all leads to a standoff with the Hurt Syndicate until Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey catches them by surprise, forcing them out of the ring. While Melisco is handing a mask to cover up, and out of respect, his music hits as the Hurt Syndicate retreats up the ramp as we go to commercial break. The match between MJF and Melisco itself was fine. The post match, however, was kind of wild. MJF actually doing the dead and unmasking Melisco was crazy. Good stuff with the luchadors. Just and jet speed, making the save wild crowd throughout the night so far, and definitely rallied. All right, so we go to commercial break. All right, we head back to ringside for our next match as Ricochet makes his entrance. This is followed by the arrival to hologram to a nice pop from the crowd before Leo Rush enters next, rounding out the competitors as Mascara Dorada to a good pop from the fans as this match gets underway. So we get 4 million peso high flying fatal 4-way match. Mascara Dorada versus Ricochet versus Hologram versus Leo Rush. This was the match of the night right here. But when is Ricochet is gonna get this moment? I know Ricochet got some good charisma, and that's all I gotta say. But when is Ricochet gonna get his moment? Swerve Strickland got his moment. John Moxley got his moment. Kenny Omega got his moment. So when is Ricochet gonna get his moment? We don't know. We'll have to see. But this Fatal 4-Way match was the match of the night right here, in my opinion. All right, the crowd is Michael Ricochet for being bald, and he points out the referee sharing his burden before the competitors face off, only for Rush to go to the corner to mock the fans. They get the jump on him before Leo Rush and Ricochet cut the field in half, but in alliance. They lay into the luchadors, sending them to the cameras for more offense as Hologram gets sent out of the ring. Ricochet lands a clothesline on Dorada as Hologram gets back in the ring, only for both luchadors to get sent to the floor. Now I remember that Ricochet became the NXT North American Championship, and now I remember that. So that's all I gotta say. I just want to bring that up, just in case everybody know that. All right, Ricochet. Let me continue. Ricochet and Leo Rush look for a dive, but gets intercepted by the Luchadors instead as they take both men down hard. Ricochet sent to the corner with a springboard arm drag by Dorado, who trades over Hogan to force Leo Rush and Ricochet out of the ring. They stare each other down before hitting the ropes, where Ricochet and Leo Rush pulls them to the outside. Ricochet sends Hologram into the barricade with Leo Rush eventually doing the same as Dorada. He brings the luchador back into the ring where Ricochet awaits and they double team Dorado for more damage before the alliance breaks down, allowing Dorado to fight back. He sends Ricochet to the corner for a kick, but is thrown away by Ricochet before Leo Rush sends him into the barricade. um, Hologram catches Leo Rush at the ropes, looking for a crossbody into an anti-air drop kick from Ricochet. He sends Hologram to the outside before he and Leo Rush lands a dive to take us to a commercial break. All right, so we go to commercial break. We're back from commercial break. Things have broken down as Dorado gets sent out of the ring, allowing Ricochet and Leo Rush to target a hologram once again. He leaves the ring as we see Leo Rush and Ricochet arguing, presumably over who should get the pinfall for the money at stake. This leads to a shoving contest between them until Dorado sends Ricochet into Leo Rush with a drop kick and gets the upper hand on both opponents until Leo Rush sends him away. Just as Hologram comes in to help stand him and Ricochet to the outside once more. It looks like they might go after each other, but instead they hit the ropes to get a dive on Ricochet and Leo Rush on the outside. They get back in the ring to go at it, trading offense until Dorada catches hologram for a near fall. Ricochet comes in only for Leo Rush to push him away before trading strikes with Dorada, who hits a boot on Leo Rush. Ricochet comes in, avoiding a Hurricanrana to hit a double stomp on the luchador. Leo Rush sends Ricochet into the corner before turning his attention to hologram, eventually landing a poison rana on the luchador for a 2 count. This he then lands a frog splash on Dorado, but Ricochet breaks up the pin at 2. He keeps Leo Rush down before going up top, only for Leo Rush to intercept. They fight it out on the turnbuckles before Leo Rush goes for a Hurricane, but Ricochet blocks it. But Leo Rush blocks a powerbomb set up for a hologram grab him. Portal bomb gets blocked as Leo Rush gets a cover with feet on the ropes, which caused Ricochet to drop to the mat. Hologram kicks out, landing a portable bomb for a near fall that Ricochet is unable to stop. The winner by pinfall, Hologram gets some frog steam coming from the roof to help him celebrate as we go to commercial break. This was the match of the night. I love this straightforward match. This was the match of the night. But when is Ricochet is gonna get his moment in AEW? Because he got great charisma and he's very good in the ring. And I remember he won the NXT North America Championship with NXT with WWE. That's all I gotta say. This was a match of the night. Pretty fun fatal four-way match here. A little more focus, allowing some bigger moments to shine. A good win for Hologram in the process as well. Hashtag AEW Grand Slam Mexico. This was the match of the night right here. All right, let's move on. So we go to commercial break. Back at ringside, Mercedes Moné makes her way out to a pretty big pop from the crowd as she heads down the ramp. Out next is the champion as Zeus heads to the ring so this title match gets underway. So we get the C-Mill World Women's Championship match. Zexis defends against Mercedes Moné. And this match right here, boy, this was a good match, man. Now Mercedes Moné has not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 belts, all 6 belts. Mercedes Moné has ran through every woman in the AEW Women's Division. Mercedes Moné has ran through everybody except Toni Storm. Now I'm afraid that Mercedes Moné is going to get 7 belts, but I hope that's not the case. But somebody needs to take Mercedes Moné down, and I hope Toni Storm can do that. But I'm afraid at the same time that Mercedes Moné is going to get 7 belts, but at AEW All in Texas. So we'll see about that. We'll see. But this was a good. This was a I'm also say this was a. I'm also say this was a solid match. What it was, solid match. Zix, Z, ZX takes the CEO down to the mat for a quick near fall before sending Mercedes Moné to the corner for a running kick that gets her a 2 count. The champ continues to attack, laying into Mercedes Moné, and who tries to get the jump on Zexius, who catches Mercedes Moné for another near fall. Instead, she follows it up with a long blow on the CEO, who narrowly kicks out. She takes to the ropes, jumping over the champ for a statement maker, but Zexius managed to crawl to the ropes for a break. She leaves the ring to get sent to the barricade by Mercedes Moné, who brings her back into the ring for a Meteoro for a 2 count and a 2 count. For a Meteoro and a 2 count. The champ takes the ropes for her Corona that forces Mercedes Moné to the outside, followed by a dive forcing her to the floor as we go to commercial break. So we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, Mercedes Moné has taken control as she heads to the corner, but the champ intercepts for a Spanish fly. in a near fall, Zexius regains control as she sent Mercedes Moné to the corner, looking to send her down to the mat before Mercedes Moné counters, landing something for a power slam followed by a pin for the win, a pin for the victory. The winner by pinfall and your new female world women's champion, Mercedes Moné. This was a solid match, but now Mercedes Moné has 6 belts around her. Mercedes Moné has ran through everybody within the women's division. She ran through everybody, but now somebody has to take Mercedes Moné down at AEW All In Texas, which is I hope Tony Storm will win. But I'm afraid that Mercedes Moné is going to get all 7 belts, just like Mercedes Moné got all 6. Now, if this was Charlotte Flair that did this, for example, everybody would have something negative to say about Charlotte Flair if Charlotte Flair would have did the exact same thing like Mercedes Moné did. Everybody would have something negative to say about Charlotte Flair. But like I said, Mercedes Moné has ran through every women's division in AEW. She ran through everybody. But that's all I gotta say, man. But let's move on. All right, the new champion gets batter and streamers from the ceiling as they celebrate the win until we see a video on the screen, a new feature from Timeless Tony Storm talking about her date with the CEO. The lights come back on and we see Mina Sakura, which turns out to be a use as Tony catches the CEO behind for a German suplex. Now Tony Storm came out in a Carmen San Diego outfit. Holy cow, man, that was something. Mercedes Moné flees the ring and runs up the ramp as Tony Storm chases her, with officials trying to break things up. They finally force Tony Storm away and her music hits, but she grabs a microphone, telling Mercedes Moné, "Let the games begin before we go to commercial break." This was a good match, but man, does the results leave me slightly sour? Sour. LOL. Like, get it. We're putting Mercedes Moné over strong ahead of her match at All In Texas, but man, does it kind of sting seeing another title change hands? Still, at least there was a good match here. That was a solid match in my opinion. But Mercedes Moné got 6 belts. She got all 6 of them belts, and she ran through everybody in the women's division in AEW. But Tony Storm needs to take down the CEO, Mercedes Moné. Will Tony Storm be the one to do it, or will Mercedes Moné add another championship title, which would make it what makes it 7? But we'll see. We'll see. But it's crazy that Mercedes Moné got all 6 of them belts. Now, like I said before, if this was Charlotte Flair that did it, was to do this, everybody has something negative to say about Charlotte Flair all over social media. I'm just putting that there for a prime example. But Mercedes Moné has all 6 belts now. All right, so we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, it's time for our main event as Will Ospreay makes his way out first to a massive pop from the Mexico City crowd. This keeps the same energy for the Ops as they come out next before Swerve Strickland rounds out the first team on his way to the ring. The Beast Motors makes his way out to the stage as do the Death Riders, who with no real wiggle room for them to go through the crowd here in Arena, Mexico, haha. They head to the stage next. Rounding out the competitors are the Young Bucks, and the group makes their way to the ring as we get this main event underway. So we get a 10-man tag team match. John Moxley, Matthew Jackson, Nicholas Jackson, The Beast Motoros, and Wheeler Yuta versus Wild Spray, Swerve Strickland, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Kazuyori Shibata. In this 10-man tag team match, um this was kind this was like this was all over the place too. But I might as well say this was a decent tag team match. Yeah, this was a not decent. This 10 man tag team match, it was the main event match itself. This was okay for what it was. Okay, okay, 10 man tag team match. Okay by itself. This was okay for what it was. Once again, I asked for you. Once again, I asked for your well wishes. Let's see how this goes. Matthews and Will Ospreay start out only for Matthews to tag the Beast. He lands a big right hand on Will Ospreay, sending him to the corner as the crowd nearly drowns out commentary within Will Ospreay soccer style chant. Mataros for his part continues to beat down until Will Ospreay catches him with the Hurricane, forcing the beast to the outside. But a dive attempt gets intercepted by Nicholas as he and Matthews double team Will Ospreay before taking out Swerve Strickland when he tries to get involved. Will Ospreay counters them for a pair of manhandling drops, but the Young Bucks takes him down to the mat once more before Wheeler Yuta tags in. Will Ospreay fights back, sending Wheeler Yuta to the canvas before Swerve Strickland tags for a double team. A greedy by Swerve Strickland allows Wheeler Yuta to fight back, but Swerve Strickland hits a backbreaker before tagging in Samoa Joe. The crowd is rally up as he pounds away at Wheeler Yuta to the corner, followed by some hard kicks and an elbow drop tied to Shibata, who brings Wheeler Yuta to his feet for some forearm strikes that Wheeler Yuta tries to fight back with his own. They exchange they exchange ends when Shibata drops him hard before attacking in Powerhouse House, who sends Wheeler Yuta hard to the corner before Samoa Joe tags in. He lands some hard strikes of his own before covering, but Wheeler Yuta kicks out at 2. John Moxley gets the tag as he and Samoa Joe strikes before Samoa Joe gets the Coquina clutch. This leads to chaos as all 10 men get into it, with Ross Ray sending Matthews to the outside to finish clearing the ring before landing a Sky Twister press, sending a whole mass of bodies to the floor as we go to commercial break. We're back from commercial break. John Moxley and Will Ospreay are in the ring and going at it when John Moxley gets a 2 count. He goes for a Kimura as Will Ospreay tries to fight out of it, only for the world champion to break the hold as he can't keep Swerve Strickland away. Will Ospreay hits the ropes and hits a kick on John Moxley, who looks almost dizzy as he gets a tag to Wheeler Yuta. Powerhouse Hobbs tags in as well, sending Wheeler Yuta to the corner before landing a series of clotheslines and sending him to the mat with a short arm lariat. The Young Bucks come running in to intervene, but it's barely phased. He blocks a super kick to grab them by the throat, but John Moxley comes back in to break it up, only for Powerhouse Hobbs to hit the rope, sending them to the outside. Wheeler Yuta is sent to the corner as Kajiri Shibata makes the tag for a running kick and a suplex, followed by a power slam by Powerhouse House, allowing Kajiri Shibata to get a near fall. The Beast Mataros breaks things up, laying nearly everyone out. Samoa Joe comes in. The two trade strikes before Samoa Joe is sent to the corner, where he catches the Beast Mataros with their urines. The Young Bucks come in to send Samoa Joe out of the ring, but this brings in Will Ospreay, who invades the EVP trigger to hit an ice cutter, forcing them out of the ring as well. Before Swerve Strickland runs out for a dive, Kajiri Shibata and Wheeler Yuta slug it out until they both drop to the canvas. Before Swerve Strickland and John Moxley tag in, trading strikes until the champ is taken down. Before the champ is taken to the mat. Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay double team John Moxley until Matthews stop a swerve stomp, and chaos ensures allowing John Moxley to roll out Swerve Strickland with a handful of trunks in the win. Well, for the win. The winner by pinfall: John Moxley, Matthew Johnson, Nicholas Johnson, the Beast Mortaros, and Wheeler Yuta. This tag team match was just okay for what it was. The the baddies continue the 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 baddies continue to beat down until Hangman Adam Page makes his way down for the save. He runs rough shots on the Death Riders until he goes for a buckshot Larry. John Moxley only for the world champion to dodge it, which sends Hangman into Matthew Jackson instead. Nicholas Jackson shouts at him as John Moxley tries to blindside him, only for the Death Riders to retreat up the ramp. Hangman Page starts to follow them, but to no avail, leaving Hangman Page to focus on riling up the crowd as commentary gives a shout out to C-Mill and the fans in Mexico to bring this show to a close. Quite like that tag team match. I'm sorry, quite like the 10-man tag team main event through thought similar to the 14 tag match. There was just a lot of stuff happening that made it little hard to follow at times. Some decent story beats throughout with things picking up post match as Hangman Page makes his way out for the save. Alright, let me continue. So this special show was a lot to process, lol. And don't know if it's just me being tired of other reasons or what built this was a 2.5 hour pay-per-view PPV show down to the fact that it was almost entirely wrestling, and yet something about the pacing felt weird at times. And AEW Grand Slam Mexico goes off. Yeah, it says AEW. Yeah, and AEW Grand Slam Mexico goes off the air. All right, let me give my honest opinion what I think about the show. Now, AEW Grand Slam Mexico, I might as well say, it was just, what did I say? Oh yeah, it was just it was just a 6.5 out of 10. It was not a good show, but the show itself with AEW Grand Slam Mexico was just okay for what it was. It was just okay show for what it was, and I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Alright, if you guys enjoy my AEW Grand Slam Mexico review and highlights, make sure you guys please watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I do on the channel where I give you guys the full breakdown of my review and not the half of my review. Follow my social media down below in the description, and I will see you guys live on Twitch, and I will go live on Twitch tomorrow for some Fortnite. So I hope I see you guys there live on Twitch for some Fortnite, so I can finally become affiliate twice in 1 year. All right, I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here, gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet, gang. And go check out my WWE NXT review go check out my WWE NXT review on highlights that I posted on the channel yesterday. All right, I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. And I will see you guys tomorrow live on Twitch for some Fortnite. I hope I get affiliated twice in 1 year. But I want you guys to follow me on Twitch. I want you guys to follow me on Twitch. That way I can get to affiliate twice in 1 year. All right, but enough of that. I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. Yeah, too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang.